Between the Pages podcast. Today we're going to talk about the importance of clean entertainment for your kids and what they're watching.
Yep. Hello, I'm Jimmy. This is Sarah. And today there's
everything
all kinds of choices, right?
Yeah, choices. Just choices
more,
point 1, 2, 3, 18.
More choices, yeah.
Every day is a choice, every second. But some of these cartoons, and because it's about kids, some of these cartoons are pretty intense. Are you guys listening? Are you listening to what is coming out of the TV? You just got them in their bedroom with the TV on. You don't know what's coming out.
Well, that's the thing, I mean, you should limit the screen time, first of all. I mean, when we were growing up, we had cartoons on Saturday, right?
Yeah.
So that was it. And we had, Roadrunner and, Rascally Rabbit and, things like that. And, the pushback, I mean, we knew those cartoons weren't real.
Yeah.
We knew it. I mean, it was just like, okay, that's not real. But that didn't prevent us from going out and trying to be Superman and strap a cape on your back and go out and jump off the garage roof or something, I can't fly, kind of thing. But, you watch somebody else do that, you go, no, I can't, I'm not. It's difficult today for kids to separate what they see on television from the real world.
Yeah.
And
and even more than just that, though, what is being actually verbally taught in the background, because there's whatever they're seeing visually, but also what they're teaching. There's little things here and there. I know there's one show we loved this show. Everybody, it's super cute. Everything, we had blankets by that show, different things, and then there was one time we were already having a situation, not a situation, but just like some things I'd heard the older kids say that I was like, I don't understand where you are getting that from. We don't do that. And then I always listen. I might not sit down and watch TV with everybody, but I listen. And in one of the shows, they were like, oh, they broke the wall. So they were playing and whatever, and the cartoon, they like made a hole in the wall, and the dad was there and the two kids, and they were like, oh, we gotta hide this from mom, and I can't say the full name or else you'll know exactly what cartoon it is, and I'm not trying to call any of them out, but then it's like, oh, I was picked up instantly. I was like, that's where they've been hearing this from, that, oh, we gotta hide this from mom, we gotta hide this from this person. And so it's like even something as simple as that. There's cartoons doing more than that. But something as simple as that, the kids pick up on, and they're like, oh, this is normal. This is what we need to do. The show said it. And Mom and Daddy agree with the show, and so this must be what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Well, there's...
Somebody's teaching your kids. You're teaching your kids, or the TV's teaching your kids.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. You should limit the time that they watch. And there are places out there that rate the content of different shows and whatnot as, family friendly or whatever. Yeah. So you should consult those. There's somebody actually doing some of that work for you. Yeah.
Because sometimes the first few episodes are like, oh, this is all right, but they get to the stuff on the second season, or the 8th episode when they know the parents aren't watching it
Well,
anymore.
they got to stay relevant, and they got to stay on the air, too, and I mean, there's only so many, stories you can do on, certain topics, and eventually you have to move into the more difficult subjects to discuss. And if you as a parent aren't there monitoring what's being said and watched, anything can happen. And on top of that, though, you have to be able to recognize when something just doesn't quite look right about this particular set of characters. There's something off in there, and if you look hard enough, usually what you'll find is there's some kind of symbol, some kind of satanic symbol or some kind of demonic symbol or something of that nature that's being presented, but it's not just obvious.
Yeah, it's not in your face. It's just kind of behind the scenes.
Right, and so a lot of them...
But they absorb that, and you absorb it visually. You might not be able to point it out, but you can see it.
Subconsciously you see that. I was recently presented with a coin, and the first thing I noticed immediately was it was broken into two, and it had a lower and an upper, and half on it, and they were identical.
Yeah.
And so that's a demonic
which
thing.
Is even knowing that, because like I know there's different things out there like gnomes. You see them everywhere, but they're a demonic thing.
Right. And so
it's like,
well, but once you recognize that, what do? You say, oh well, it's just a coin. I'll keep it. No, it's got to go.
Yep.
It's got to go, man. And so that's the thing, you know. Once you recognize a certain cartoon or show or something, just block it. Put your parental control in and just block
I know.
it.
I wish they would let you do that more. They don't. They have like a kid setting, but they don't have it where you can go, oh, I don't want to watch this show. I don't want them to see this show. It's age appropriate, but I don't want my kid to watch it. You can't do that. And so it's like, that's why you just have to be around. You gotta be around, you gotta be listening.
Like I said, there's groups out there that'll go and evaluate this programming for you and tell you whether or not it's actually age appropriate or if it's even appropriate at all.
Yeah.
And you know, they've done the work. And so, you know, not to put all the burden on the parent. They got enough going on as it is, and you know, some people are new to Christianity. Some people are new to what's going on, parenthood even, and they're just not, you know, thinking, you know, like,
this is fine.
Yeah, and it's just like something they do, you know.
But they're absorbing it. They're absorbing everything.
Right, and then later on, when you begin to have disciplinary problems, or you begin to have, well, where'd you come up with that at? That's not what we believe. Then it's too late.
Yeah.
You know, so you got to deprogram that. You got to, you know, come up with some kind of a way to say, oh, well, we let you watch that, but that's not what that means, or you know, that's not what we wanted to communicate. We wanted you to have a different framework, if you will. Yeah. So you know, that's a tough job, y'all. It's tough.
Yeah.
And you know, and then the other aspect of all of this is, well, if you had like 4 or 5 kids and you put them in a room, they're not any of those the same.
No.
They're all different. They all have different personality types.
And that even goes into, and so it wasn't just about watching TV, but the importance of clean entertainment for your kids.
Yeah.
Because it's the books that you read, what you're watching, and who you're hanging out with.
Right.
And so you got to watch sometimes who your kids are hanging out with, because everything is an influence.
Yeah.
Really, even as an adult, but during those first 15 years, everything is a major influence on how the brain will work for your kid.
Right, and the special effects today are
way more.
Way advanced.
Oh, I know.
A lot of the things you see almost look real. I mean, like they're actually happen somewhere. And so then that really brings into question really everything that you see digitally, presented. How real is that?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, even
it's almost like you can't believe anything, and it makes it hard. And so a kid, as an adult, you can go, well, this could be, but maybe not. You can do that. A kid sees it, and it's so flawless that it's like, oh, wow, this is real. This is legitimate.
Right.
And they can't distinguish the difference between it, and so it can mess with their reality and their view of reality.
Yeah, you know, our parents, your grandparents and whatnot, one of the things they would, because eventually you get to the point where and they would say, well, you know, you can't believe anything you see, and you can only believe half of what you read.
Yeah.
And so today, I think that's still true, with the exception of, I'm not so really certain you can believe half of what you read.
Oh,
Probably more like 10% of what you read is legitimate. You know, and the way that it gets spun, if you will, there's a spin. You can take an article that has 9 parts of truth in it and put one little thing in there that's not true, and the whole thing becomes false. And that's the way they do the programming. And so you got to watch the programming. It might have 9 or so aspects of it that are just true.
Yeah.
But then there's this one part that's not what you agree with or is false, and that just taints the whole programming. So, like I say, do your homework.
Yeah. And there's lots of people out there, specifically on TV stuff and YouTube and other channel things. There's lots of other creators who have gone and done the research and gone, oh, you like this show? Well, here's the more biblical version that you could get your kids watching. Oh, you like this show? Well, here's the more biblical version. It's like the same thing that you can get your kids to be watching this instead of that. So you can go look up. The internet is sometimes helpful.
Well,
sometimes helpful.
One of the other aspects of things is, there's a guy that has a podcast, and he teaches you critical thinking. It's a Dilbert creator, just for y'all. But one of the things he does is he says, well, okay, read the story, watch the video, but look at the credits. Look who actually is paid for this.
Oh yeah.
If you're seeing something that doesn't quite sound correct, like, I don't know, something about agriculture or something about some other medicine or some breakthrough or something. Well, look who the company is behind the funding of the story you're reading or the video you're watching. And it's the same with some of this podcast content, there are people out there, like you say, who've gone and done their homework. But look at what is their end goal. Who pays for their presentations? What is the force behind them? And a lot of times that'll help you determine. Oh, okay, yeah, I don't want to be watching some of this content that gets presented. Different things that were wholesome at one time in our generation have changed for the current generation, and
you're not going to find that in our books.
Well, I mean, one day I'll return to where I came from and the dust that I came from, and someone will take this over, and hopefully they'll have the same values and beliefs that I have. That's what happens a lot. Is people have. If you were to inherit the thing and be managing it, but you too will succumb eventually. And so, who winds up running the show?
Did you know that copyright is
limited?
It's for the life of that person plus 70 years.
Yeah.
That's what we just learned about this last chapter at school.
Well, that assumes
I was like, wow.
That assumes that you have a copyright. I mean,
no, it's anything.
No, that's not true. The movie It's a Wonderful Life, it didn't get copyrighted. That's why it's in the public domain, and that's why anybody can run that movie. Anyone can show that movie. And so it's not.
Maybe it's just written works because
someone forgot to file the paperwork, and so if you don't get a copyright assigned to your work, it's not copyrighted. You may think it's copyrighted.
Maybe they changed the rules because I thought the same thing. I thought you had to go and actually get it copywritten, but I'll have to go reread it.
Personally, I don't care. Y'all take my content and use it however you want to. I'm not. I have a different thing. But
anyway,
if I were in it for the money, I might. That might be something I'd be interested
in. Different topic.
Yeah,
we get off topic all the time.
Probably ought to get on a copyright thing one of these days and just talk about that a little bit for people.
Well, I just thought it was interesting because it was in the last chapter I did, and everyone in the discussion group was like, oh, I didn't know it was immediately. Like, if you write out your thing, it's copywritten for you. But you can go actually apply for, like, an official copyright that makes it...
Then it's officially copyrighted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But...
So there might be a common law copyright clause
something like
or something.
that.
But,
Anyway.
It's hard to enforce that.
Yeah. Because anyway.
Well, I mean, like, the Happy Birthday song, that's copyrighted. People sing it all the time, though.
Yeah.
And so it's like, there are certain things that are copyrighted that...
like trademark, too, is different because different topic.
Yeah. Well, when we were growing up, tissue as a Kleenex.
Wow, I was going to say Velcro.
Okay.
Because Velcro is actually hook and loop.
Yeah, okay.
But then Velcro brand made Velcro, and it became not hook and loop anymore. Everybody calls Velcro.
Right.
And so Velcro's not allowed to have that trademark
you can lose
anymore.
your trademark. You can lose your
if it becomes a common word. Yeah, like chapstick.
Yeah.
It's called something else, like
Yeah.
lip moisturizer.
Yeah. I mean,
Something like
Xerox had the same problem. Everybody would make me a Xerox, instead of make me a copy. And so, yeah.
That's your generation.
Yeah.
I've never heard that
Yeah.
outside of your generation.
I'm sure that there are things that would happen before my generation
Yeah.
that have been long since forgotten, but yeah. But yeah, do your homework. Go look at.
Pay attention to what your kids are absorbing.
Yeah.
Like.
And just do the best you can.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. Just do your.
That's what we were saying earlier. Even who your kids are hanging out around, because even though my two, they get out, but they're not just regular. They don't go to daycare or anything, so they're not regularly associated with other kids to hear other things. And I was like, "Oh, Lillian, do you want cheese?" And she goes, "I like cheese." In her baby talk, but she says, "I like cheese." And I'm like, well, that's what Eleanor always says. That's what you said. Yeah. Eleanor always is like, "Oh, I like this. I like this." That's how she does her sentence. I like this. I like it. And so Lillian's like, "I like cheese." And that's a simple... I'm sure she could have learned it anywhere, but there's words and sentences that she's learning how to talk that are directly from how Eleanor talks.
Well,
you can teach your kids, or somebody else will.
Yeah, somebody else will. And in that vein, don't let your kids go to bed at night with a cell phone or a laptop or a tablet. Yeah. Well, people do.
I know.
Do not do that. You're asking for trouble. Yeah. You are asking for trouble. You will experience it eventually.
That's our talk for the day.
Words of wisdom.
Words of wisdom. So, the older generation, the younger generation.
Yeah.
So, one day it'll be me and Eleanor, and she'll be like, the older generation pointing at me.
Yeah, well, that's probably true, yeah. Hopefully she'll still listen to you when she's older.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. That's what we expect, right? Yeah.
I'm her best friend.
Yeah, she's a good kid.
Importance of clean entertainment for your kids. If you hadn't already, get a copy of one of the Ishkini Books collection on our website. We got plenty already out, plenty coming. Join us next time on Between the Pages podcast. Like, subscribe, share, and enjoy.